You will need the 32-point book and ruler to complete this block. This block is constructed using the same technique as for a 16-point round sunflower block, except we will be making 32 units using kite C of the 32-point ruler. This tutorial will be even more helpful if you have already made a 16-point block before making this 32-point version. You should review page 1 in your Skinny Robin 16-point book. Here it talks about the importance of your 1/4-inch seam and that you should not use steam when pressing during the construction of your block. There is also great info on page 2 of your 32-point book about general block construction. Also, please note that any references made to the Skinny Robin companion booklet are one and the same as chapter 2 of your updated Skinny Robin 16-point book. You will also use some different angles for these blocks, which are not found on any other straight edge ruler. There is a transparency included in your 32-point book that you can attach to your own straight edge ruler. More information about this can be found on page 2 of your 32-point book. I also offer my own angle ruler that has all the same angles you would need for constructing any of my 16 or 32-point blocks. This block is not illustrated in my 32-point book, but we will use the same basic technique as for making a 32-point sunflower with a few changes. This technique is very similar to the 16-point round sunflower block found in your 16-point book. The background and .1 32 strip widths will be different for a round sunflower block than for a raw edge sunflower block. Use the background and .1 32 strip widths listed for a 32-point compass block, except cut half as many background strips as .1 32 strips. Cut your background, .1 32 and inside .2 32 strips. Please note that the strip widths are conservatively based on 42-inch width of fabric. If your fabric is wider than 42 inches, you may not need as many strips as listed. Also note that for this tutorial we will be making an 18-inch block. You will be asked to refer to previous Mariner's Compass instructions and instructions in the Skinny Robin 16-point Mariner's Compass book for this block. When referred back to a different chapter or book, I would recommend putting a sticky note at the end of the step listed, reminding you to go back to the original instructions. Make a strip set by sewing the background and .1 32 strips together, right sides together, and offsetting them by 33.75 degrees. To do this, you will put your straight edge ruler 33.75 degree line on the edge of the background fabric as close to the top of the strip as you can below the selvage. Take your .1 32 fabric strip and place it right side down on the right edge of the background fabric at the 33.75 degree angle. You will have some .1 32 strips left over, which we will use in later steps in this process. Sew these strips together using an accurate 1/4-inch seam. Press the seam toward the background fabric by laying the .1 32 fabric right side up on your ironing board in as straight a line as possible and pressing the background fabric up. Lay your pressed strip set right side up on the cutting board with the background fabric at the top. With the 33.75 degree angle placed on the seam line, trim off the edge of the strip set. Flip the strip set so that the .1 32 strip is at the top. Place your 33.75 degree angle on the seam line and then cut your first building unit the same width as you cut your background fabric strip. If the angle and the cutting measurement are not lining up, simply flip the strip set and retrim before continuing to cut your units. Cut as many units as you can out of the strip set sewn. You will need at least 16 units up until this point. Cut off the background triangles by lining up ruler from 1/4 inch line at the top of the unit seam line across to the opposite background corner. Reserve these background triangles for a future step of this block. Tip: you can also use your 32-point ruler to make these cuts. The first cut is left and low. Line up kite C lower left dashed line on the raw edge of the building unit. Place the solid line of the size block you are making from the left side of kite C on the seam line. Make the cut. You will slide the ruler down for the second cut, high and right. Place kite C right side dashed line of the size block you are making on the lower right raw edge. Also place kite C leftmost solid line of the kite on the seam line. Check the center line is on the bottom point of the unit. Make the cut. Take the reserved background triangles and place right side up. Pull off the tiny triangles. Now we will sew the reserved triangles onto the rest of your 0.1 32 strips to create more units. Depending on how many units you were able to get out of your initial strip sets will determine how many of these reserved triangles you will need to use. The goal is to have 32 pieced units. Offset the first reserved triangle on the 0.1 32 strip. Using a 1/4 inch seam, sew on as many triangles as needed. Press the seam toward the reserved triangles by laying your 0.1 32 strip right side up and pressing the triangles up. Rotate the strip so that 0.1 32 is at the top. Place the 33.75 degree angle on the 0.1 32 seam line and flush with the right side of the background triangle. Cut only the 0.1 32 strip. Now you will shape these units just like we did the others using kite C of the 32-point ruler. Left and low, high and right. You should now have a total of 32 of these shaped units. Offset the first unit on the inside 0.2 32 strip. Sew all 32 units onto the inside 0.2 32 strip. Press the seam toward the pieced units by laying the inside 0.2 32 strip right side up and pressing the units up. Place the 33.75 degree line on the inside 0.2 32 seam line and flush with the right side of the pieced unit. Cut only the inside .2 32 strip. Continue cutting all 32 units. Flip the pieced units around so that the inside .2 32 strip is at the top. Place the 33.75 degree line on the seam line between .1 32 and background and trim flush with the right side of the pieced unit. Trim all 32 units. Next, you will sew these 32 pieced units together, matching the .1 32 seam. If you are putting a round center on your block, sew a couple stitches past the inside .2 32 seam. For a reverse applique center, remember to stop stitching just past the inside .2 32 strip and backstitch. Press by laying the bottom pieced unit right side up and pressing the top pieced unit up. Wing out. Continue sewing these units together into a sunflower block, pressing as you go. Give your raw block a measure from finished point to finished point to make sure it is sizing correctly. There is additional information about pressing your block on page 1 in the finishing chapter of your Skinny Robin 16-point book. You can use a little steam or best press at this point to give your block a final press. And your block should look as good on the back side as it does on the front. Now you have a raw block to finish into any creative compass project. There is lots more information about finishing your blocks, both for the centers and for finishing your blocks into any background in the finishing chapter of your Skinny Robin 16-point book. There are also finishing videos available on my website under the Video Tutorial tab and on my free app. To download my app, search Robin Ruth Design at the App Store. Thanks for watching and happy compassing!